Number 21 of financial management MCQ series. Which of the following is not regarded as financing decision under the financial management? So under financial management, there are mainly three types of decisions, which are financing decision, then investment decisions, and then comes dividend decision. Financing decision related to the liability side, investing is more related to the asset side, that is capital budgeting, and dividend decision is to whether to retain the profit or appropriate it. So in the given question, the answer will be capital budgeting decision, because it's more of an investing decision and not a financing decision. So answer will be option number C. Question number 22. Which of the following statements are true? Net income theory was propounded by David Durand, and net operating income theory was propounded by David Durand, and Modigliani-Miller theory is similar to NOI theory. So actually, David Durand propounded both the theories, NI as well as NOI. NI theory says that capital structure is relevant in determining your market value of your firm, and it gives emphasis on your net income, that is earning after tax. Whereas these two theories, they are capital structure irrelevant theory. This theory was propounded by David Durand also. It gives more emphasis on operating income, that is EBIT, and it says that your capital structure has nothing to do with the market value. The market value of your firm is derived by your earning potentials. And Modigliani-Miller approach is similar to NOI, but it gives behavioral justification to NOI theory. So all the given options are correct. Question number 23. What is the primary advantage of raising funds through debenture instead of bank loans? Now I'll create a separate video on debenture and bank loans. What are the pros and cons if a company raises funds through debenture and bank loans? Though government is nudging corporates to raise funds through capital market or say debenture, so what is the government intention in this regard? So I'll make a video on that. So debenture do not require collateral, whereas loan do. This can be considered as correct. They may be secured or they may be unsecured also. The debenture must be paid within 1 year. No, there is no such rule. So option B is wrong. Banks loan do not require regular interest payment, but debenture, the question answer the option is wrong, and debentures have higher interest rate than bank loan. Again, this is wrong. This will depend on your rating, your tradability, your credit risk of the bond, and your business prospect, your business model. So many other things are there. So it may not be true always. So in the given question, answer will be option number A. Now, as I said that as per SEBI regulations, LC shall raise not less than 25% of their qualified borrowing by way of debt securities in the financial year after the financial year in which it is identified as an LC. Now, LC means here large corporate. Now, what type of company will be considered large corporate? Let's discuss about those companies. So, companies which have their specified securities or debt securities or normal convertible debenture shares or preference shares or equity shares which are listed on the recognized stock exchange. That is the first condition. Second condition says that they should be AA plus or AAA rated. Means AA minus will not be considered as a large corporate. And third condition is that the outstanding borrowing should be 1000 crore and above. So the year in which they qualify all these three conditions, from the next financial year they will be considered as large corporate, and at least 25% of their borrowing should be raised through debenture, or with effect from 1 April 2024, this rule will be applicable. IR method assumes that project cash flows are reinvested at. So project cash flows are reinvested at risk-free rate, IRR, required rate of return, or hurdle rate. So answer in the given question will be IRR itself. So this is one of the limitations of IRR, that it makes assumption that future cash flows can be invested at the same internal rate of return irrespective of the growth and economic perspective. There may be good times at present, or maybe say after 1 year the time may not be the same, but IRR assumes that throughout the project, say the project tenure may be 10 or 15 years, so it will assume that it will keep on giving the same type of return, which is the biggest limitation of an internal rate of return calculation. Question number 25. Which type of foreign exchange risk arises due to unexpected changes in the exchange rates affecting companies' financial statement? So the given options are credit risk, operational risk, transaction risk, and transnational risk. Now, credit risk is more related to the counterparty risk, that the company will default in payment, or say the counterparty will default in the payment. Operational risk is more related to fraud and day-to-day operation or internal financial controls. Whereas transaction and translation risk, they are type of exchange risk. The exchange risk itself is a type of market risk. So the difference between these two will discuss. So the answer will be translational risk, because this is affecting financial statement. Means while translating these transactions, translating the asset and liability items in the domestic currency. So this is related to that. The answer will be translation risk. So let's discuss about those types of risk. So as I said, this is more of a market risk, and market risk is further categorized in interest rate risk, equity risk, exchange rate risk, and commodity price risk. Interest rate risk is like bond and yield and price. There is inverse relationship, which is example of interest rate risk. Equity price risk means that a share is listed on NSE or BSE and the price getting down. So that is an equity price risk. Similarly, commodity prices, the commodity which is exchanged, the rate is getting down. This commodity prices, whereas an exchange rate risk is further bifurcated into two parts. Translation risk is the risk that the company's equity, asset, liabilities, or income will change in value as a result of exchange rate changes. This occurs when a firm denominates a portion of its equity liability in foreign currency. For example, if a bank has a branch in London, and the branch is maintaining all its accounts in this London currency. So when the consolidated financial will be prepared for the bank, so those asset or liability which are there in the London, there needs to be converted into rupees. So they needs to be translated. So that is how the translation risk is defined. And the transaction risk, as the name suggests, when the transaction occurs, like for example, an export is selling some goods. So if rupee depreciate, of course the exporter will be benefited, but on the other end, if you are importing something and rupee depreciate, so it will more of an exchange transaction risk for this particular transaction. So hope this clarification helps. This is how we conclude the question number 25. We'll come up with next question series 26 to 30 in short.